Hey everyone, in this episode we're going to talk about Avengers Infinity War. We're going to see if it lived up to our expectations, see all the fun moments and surprising moments that we did not expect. All that and more in episode 35 of the Reel-ists podcast. Team Reel-ists, thanks for listening. I am Oscar.
Hey guys, I'm Donnie.
And we have our producer Ruben, who's currently drinking water, so he can't say hi, but he'll say hi.
Hi.
There you go. All right, and so before we get into our discussion of, or a spoiler discussion of Avengers Infinity War.
Woo, I can't wait.
It's
going to be epic. Sorry.
Just want to get into it. Just going to cover some basic stuff. We first would like to announce that we are
housekeeping.
There you go. There goes our official time. We are going to be extending our giveaway, our Team Reel-ists giveaway. You're going to be able to enter to win a magnet. Donnie, what do you have to do to win this magnet?
You have to go on one of our social media accounts and you have to leave us a comment with the hashtag Team Reel-ists giveaway.
That's the one, exactly.
Hey, got it right.
That's TEAMREELISTSGIVEAWAY. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if this was was a video, then you would be able to just write it.
The hashtag it's like that pound sign.
The number sign.
The number sign. You hit that first and then followed by.
So, yes, we're going to extend it another week. So, the deadline was technically yesterday, but it's another week. So, that's going to be up until May 9th. You have until May 9th to leave that comment and you'll be entered. Our 5 are going to be randomly selected, so hopefully you do win one, but don't worry, there's going to be many opportunities to get one if you miss out. But yes, May 9th is our new deadline, so we hope you guys enter that.
The comment can be anything, guys.
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not like derogatory, defamatory.
No, so it can't be.
Okay, so I guess it can't be anything. I mean, use your judgment, common sense, but, right, anything related to our episodes.
We just want to know, I mean, it could be feedback on us talking about the movie. It can be feedback on the movie itself. Like, if you guys want us to, read the books, that's absolutely a comment that
could just be like, Donnie, you're awesome. Keep up the great work. Hashtag Team Reel-ists giveaway.
Or, Oscar, you're better than that. You're better than Donnie. Should be a reply.
Or Ruben does such a great job producing the show. Hashtag Team Reel-ists giveaway.
There you go.
Or Ruben sucks. Get him off the show. Hashtag Team Reel-ists giveaway. Just kidding.
Yes, you can do any of those, although that Ruben sucks is considered like a negative comment. So.
That would be considered derogatory.
Great example, Donnie.
I was giving both examples, what to do and what not to do.
All right, and so hopefully you guys enter that. You guys can see a picture of our magnet on our Instagram page, at least at the moment. We might be posting it on the other ones, but definitely take a look into that. Hopefully you guys like it. Designed by Ruben, our producer, so we'll give credit where credit is due.
Thanks, producer Ruben.
So, yes, definitely enter that. And, Donnie, do you want to give a shout-out to someone?
Yes, I want to give a special shout-out
on behalf of Team Reel-ists.
What'd you say?
On behalf of Team Reel-ists.
On behalf of Team Reel-ists, I want to shout out one of our listeners, Jason Adrian. He commented.
You're blowing his spotlight.
I know. Sorry. He commented on our Facebook page saying that he enjoys listening to our podcast. So shout out to Jason Adrian. Thank you so much, Jason, for listening. We appreciate your support. And
you're entered in the giveaway.
You are entered in the giveaway. And, any of our other listeners, just, it's always nice to just, drop us a comment, just let us know how we're doing, how you like our podcast, what things we could improve upon, what things you like about it, just anything. We always encourage our listeners to just reach out to us in any way.
Yes, absolutely. And to kind of just thank everyone overall that's listening. We are, making more listeners, I guess would be. We're getting more listeners. Let me rephrase that. We're getting more listeners each month as it's going. We surpass our total numbers every month, and so
we had record-breaking numbers this week.
Well, this month. That's past month, April. Yeah. So now we're in May. So hopefully, May just continues the trend.
Box office shattering numbers.
That's Avengers.
I think we're talking about the movie. Sorry, I'm getting confused.
No, but we did good too. But Absolutely, yes. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We do appreciate the support.
Always.
And keep spreading that word.
Yeah, keep it going. Tell everyone you know.
Especially if you want, if you want us to continue. Speaking of which, I do want to talk about this before we talk about Avengers, because it is like the biggest thing going on right now.
Yeah.
MoviePass changing its terms just like out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where now, if you get MoviePass, you can only see 4 movies in a month, and you're paying for 3 months in advance. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, supposedly current customers are not impacted by it, but
which would be us.
Which would be us, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of the movies we review are paid for by MoviePass, by MoviePass subscription, so we hope that that's not a change for existing customers.
Yeah, that would be really great if it wasn't, because,
that's how we're doing 2 episodes.
Like 95% of the movies we see is with MoviePass. That's how we're able to kind of do these episodes.
The only movies we paid for ourselves were Black Panther and Avengers.
War,
yeah, both because they were in IMAX that we wanted to see. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone at MoviePass is listening.
Please, we're begging you. Please don't change it.
We just started this 4 months ago, or we're 4 months in. We want to continue this. I just had to get that out because that's
you just had to get that off your chest.
It's impacting us. It could impact us down the road
potentially. Yeah,
so I want to just express that. But
for sure.
Now let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the fun, epic movie we just saw, Avengers: Infinity War.
Woo!
The most talked about movie right now. Box office record shattering movie. It made 258 globally. Well, not globally. That was domestically. Globally, it surpassed. It was in the. What was that?
I just felt like we needed some background noise. It's like Infinity War. This is huge.
During my little update on box office number segment. But yeah, so it's I believe it's in the 650 plus for
global.
Yeah. Incredible.
And
well deserved.
Amazing.
10-year run.
258 domestically. And it hasn't even premiered in China and Russia yet.
Yeah, and it just actually in Monday broke the April record for Mondays as well, which was like 25 million for Monday. Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, shattering all kinds of records.
And I think the biggest contribution to this was the fact that everyone wanted to see it because there was like the whole like no spoilers, like, it's so secretive. Like, what is it that it's so secretive? It's kind of like must see.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's awesome. I'm sure it's gonna reach 1 billion soon. That's probably gonna be a record in itself when it gets to the 1 billion mark.
Yeah, probably. I would not be surprised at all.
But definitely worth deserved. 10 years. Let's ask the biggest question probably out of all of it. Did it live up to your expectation, Donnie, knowing that you had watched all the 18 movies coming up to Infinity War?
Yeah, it did. It did meet my expectations. I knew this was going to be an epic film. I knew that Thanos was going to be a villain to be just feared, and it wasn't going to be like previous villains where it's like, oh yeah, he's the bad guy, but they're going to lose in the end, or they're not going to prevail. Like you knew Thanos was going to do damage in this film. Before we get too deep into it, I just wanted to give a quick spoiler alert.
Another one, a last one.
Yeah, one final one. Oh my God, don't spoil it. This is your final warning. If you have not seen Infinity War, you need to put us on pause and go watch it, and then come back because we are gonna spoil it up.
Yes.
The Thanos. Just speaking about the villain of the film, that met my expectations. I knew there was gonna be humor and obviously some great punchlines and good funny moments. I knew there were going to be some more emotional, heartfelt scenes. I knew there were going to be some epic standoffs between, amongst all the superheroes and Thanos and his, crew. And there was. I mean, it did meet my expectations. I didn't walk away going... I mean, we all walked away feeling a certain way, but that's because of another reason. But I didn't walk away going, oh, yeah, but... I was thinking, it was overhyped, or 18 years for, or not, 10 years for that, 18 films for that. Like, no, I felt like I got what I was looking for.
I feel
the question is, did you?
It did. I mean, it did live up to that expectation of like, I feel like this was truly an epic movie, and this was something, you couldn't just make, by the fifth year. Like, I feel like you did have to do all the things that they did to some extent. The one thing that, I mean, it's kind of like the Infinity Stones were involved in the other movies, but they weren't always the highlight. So it's kind of like one of those where you have to know that that's going on, and that's like...
And sometimes you would have missed... You could have possibly missed that it was an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
In the other films.
Right.
Whereas this one, it was like very apparent. Like, it was, the whole film he was like going to, trying to get each Infinity Stone. So that was kind of like...
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I know like the movies did explain what they are. And even in this movie, it explains what the Infinity Stones are. But it's one that if you watch the 18 movies leading up to Infinity War, you feel the reward of seeing the characters together, more so than the plot, more so than Thanos. Because Thanos his presence was in Guardians of the Galaxy, which it was more of like, I'm the big bad, but I'm telling the bad guy of the movie what to do.
Right.
But never did anything like himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is outside of his original post-credit scenes in Avengers,
right,
where you just saw his face for like 5 seconds. And then in the post-credit scene of Avengers Age of Ultron, that's when you see him get the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's when he says,
I'll take care of this myself.
Yeah. So that's all you've really seen of him.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, it's like it starts with him already established that he's collecting it. So, I mean, personally, this is one that it's like, I don't want to say it's for the fans. It's just for those that have been watching it and have been keeping a close eye on it.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of, I'm assuming if you're just a casual moviegoer and you've seen maybe a select few of the superhero movies, like maybe you missed out on Doctor Strange, and maybe you missed out on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for just, whatever reasons. It's not necessarily mean you won't be able to enjoy this one. You may just not feel like
not all the gaps will be filled in.
Right.
You might have a few questions.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's, I think that's probably one of the things that's, to me, is a minor thing that I have with the movie. It's just that I feel like this movie should be one that it could have been self-contained. And we're going to the spoiler territory here. It's not a complete story. This is unofficially part 1. Infinity Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give us that complete story, and that's another thing that still kind of gets to me. It's like I enjoyed everything. I'm not saying anything bad about the entertainment wise, and me enjoying it. It just, in terms of like how it starts and how it ends, it's like you're just thrust into this story that you have to know what's going on. It's like if I gave you a book and I made you start reading at page 45.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, So,
and I get that. I mean, I know there were, you have one side of the argument where it's like, oh, this is supposed to be such a big epic movie for everyone to come and see. But if I haven't seen all 18 films, I'm not really going to know. I'm going to kind of be a little lost. But I get the predicament that like the director, like, the Russo brothers are in, and like, because you only have a certain amount of time.
Right.
That you have to like pack all these characters and these character arcs and these storylines into this certain amount of time. So it's like you can't really like develop every character from the ground up because there's just too many of them. So it's kind of, I feel like, I mean, yeah, they were kind of going off of like, we're expecting most of you guys to have seen most of the films. Which is not
a far cry to ask.
Right? It's not, and I understand it. I mean, yeah, this is the 19th film, so it's like, that's a lot of films, and I know, like, not, you and I did our little, MCU marathon. I mean, you had seen all of them,
right?
I had only not seen 2 of them, but thankfully I've seen
3 of them.
Was it 3?
Iron Man 3,
Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man: Homecoming. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but thankfully I was able to see that, but yeah, I just get the kind of like predicament that they were in, because it's like, I know people were like, oh, I didn't want to just be thrust right into it because I was a little lost. But at the same time, it's, I mean, not to be harsh, but it's kind of like you kind of needed it. You should have done your homework a little bit. It's like you had 10 years to,
it's
kind of, lead up. You kind of had 10 years to follow up and catch up.
It's the argument of like, do you need to make every movie a standalone movie in the sense that you shouldn't have to watch any
other one,
and that goes to sequels as well.
Yeah.
The sequels, it's kind of like you may not understand why the characters are the way they are, like, because they're established, which in case you should watch the previous to understand that. Mm-hmm. So to me, the character relationships could be the way they were from the ending of the last film. But yeah, to me, it's like it got straight into it. And here's a counter argument.
Even if you didn't watch all the 18 films, like, for instance, like if you didn't watch all the Iron Man films, like I don't think because I mean, he was in a lot of other, like he was in, Civil War, he was in all the Avengers, so like
right.
You didn't necessarily need to watch like all 3 Iron Man films, or like
absolutely.
You could get that.
Yeah, I mean,
you could have cheated a little bit
if you were to make the list of what someone should have seen prior to seeing.
Right, there wouldn't be 18 films on that list.
Right,
like we could
it'd be down to like 8 to 11.
Yeah. So,
but the counter argument to that, though, and this is what I do love, and this is kind of the split. As a comic book fan, I loved that we were in it, and because graphic novels, crossover events, they don't do the setup much. They just put you into it, assuming you've been reading the comics, and it's awesome. Like when you just go straight into a crossover event or just a big event for Marvel and for DC, it's just awesome because you're seeing everything you want to see in that event. So you're getting those character interactions. Exactly what we want to see is what we got in this movie in the same way you get in the graphic novels. It's awesome. I personally did enjoy that aspect of it, but it's just like as a film, I want it to be complete. I still want it to be where, I can just watch this one without having to know the other ones, and to some extent I can. To some extent you can.
Yeah. The
only thing is you're just not going to be familiar with the characters, and you're not going to be familiar with why Thanos is doing this all of a sudden kind of thing.
It's kind of still not, I feel like, entirely clear. I mean, like, so correct me if I'm wrong. In the comics, the reason he was getting the Infinity Stones was because I read something like he was trying to basically meet death, or he was trying to like
right. Yes, he was
trying to
win her over.
Yeah, so he had to kill many people
right
in order to kind of get death's attention.
Correct.
Whereas in this film, they were saying the reason he was collecting the Infinity Stones was because he was trying to wipe out people because basically
like a cleanse.
Overpopulation.
Yeah, it was like
and there was like not enough resources. So he basically was like thinking he was doing good by destroying or by killing off a mass amount of people so that there would be plentiful resources for everybody else or something like that.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. I just wanted to make sure that was accurate because I read that and I was like, I wonder, like that was those are two completely different reasons for what
for wanting the Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. So yeah, that's practically the two big differences. I can understand why they didn't want to throw in another kind of character. Death, it's more of a character, not like necessarily like a Grim Reaper. It's more of like a female character. Mm-hmm. So I can see why they didn't want to go with that route of having that and making sure like you understood the relationship and why Thanos. To me, that's more of like you really have to see those. Kind of like in the same way you saw the superheroes, you kind of have to see them in other movies to kind of understand the relationship. Mm-hmm. So I can see why they opted to go a different route from that. But the thing that I come back to this idea of it's just not a complete story. To really be like this was
it's hard
movie.
To talk about it because
we don't know.
We have one half of it.
Yeah,
like we know. It's not going to be complete until we see that second film.
Exactly, which would be in a whole year from now,
so
May 2019.
Yeah.
So it's tough to really kind of...
Hands down, I can say that's probably going to be our most anticipated film of 2019.
Right? What else? Lion King comes out in 2019
we can finish the saga. Does Aladdin come out in 2019?
I think maybe.
Okay, well then I digress.
There's a few. Now that...
All right. That's one of our most anticipated films of 2019.
But no, I mean... So I think that's why it's tough to really criticize the movie. I mean, I know adding part 1 to the movie title would not have been necessarily made a difference in the saying like that it needed to clarify that. But it's one that it's like I really can only talk about moments that I enjoyed without necessarily saying this is my thoughts of the story because it's not complete in the same way that I can tell you the entire story for Ultron because we saw his entire arc in that Age of Ultron movie, or all the bad guys, in their other movies. Loki's probably the only one that it's like kind of hard because it looks like he does die in the movie.
Yeah,
in the beginning too. So like that was
what set it apart from like the other deaths that are in the movie.
Yeah,
that was like instant.
It was.
So I feel like they're trying to let us like, okay, like, Well,
let's walk through the movie, Donnie.
Okay.
So we'll review it as we go. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Ruben's distracted. Good. So starting off, picking up where Thor Ragnarok leaves off, and that's with Thanos arriving and attacking his ship. Now, not all characters that were in Thor Ragnarok are in this scene, so we're assuming that they escaped. But here is where we find out that Loki, Heimdall die, and the Hulk is transported to Earth after the Hulk gets a beating from Thanos. So that kicks off Hulk's story arc of how he got back to Earth. And it also shows how Thor has lost everything at this point.
Yeah.
Like he does not have anything. And I think that impact wasn't necessarily...
And he almost lost his... it looked like they did kill him.
Or you thought so, because
you thought so.
The entire thing exploded.
Yeah. So it seemed like he had died too, but yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it to the intent of it was like, I don't think Thanos wasn't saying let him live. It was like, he was like, all right, you're going to die. And then he disappeared with his Black Order. We'll go into more of the Black Order. And then we get straight to Earth. We go straight to Earth in this point. And the one gripe that I have is that Bruce Banner remembered everything.
As the Hulk.
And I remember telling you that was like, as soon as...
Which normally he's like, what happened?
Right.
Like he's, doesn't know.
And that's exactly... And that's kind of an inconsistency that bugged me, because it's like, when it's convenient he remembers, I get it. Like, how else was, Earth going to know Thanos was coming?
Right.
But it was just like, come on. The entire Thor Ragnarok movie that came out November 2017, so it is fresh in most people's minds, I would assume. When he was back to Bruce Banner, he was just like, wait, what's going on? I've been gone for 2 years.
Yeah, but now, like,
where
with this
am I?
one...
And, now he's just like...
He's coming. Thanos is coming.
Right.
Like, he knows it all. He just remembers.
And the only thing I can understand is maybe everything up until becoming the Hulk. Like, I'm sorry, not becoming Hulk. Everything up until, like, Thanos arriving, that he was Bruce Banner. But the movie in Thor Ragnarok ends with him as the Hulk.
So we don't see that.
Right.
So we assume that he stayed the Hulk.
Yeah. So
throughout this whole...
That's my first gripe with the movie as we go. But then we get introduced to Tony, Doctor Strange, and Wong. So we get introduced to more characters there. That banter was awesome. We get a Pepper Potts cameo.
Woo!
So that's fun.
Loved it.
I loved how they were talking about a kid, though. It was like, dang, they have like really like
kind of grown
in that relationship.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man was 10 years ago. 10
Yeah.
years, at that point you should be kind of having conversations about like...
And they're like just having conversations. They're not even like, oh, we're trying or expecting.
Right.
They're like,
Which, it's funny because Tony says that he was thinking about the name Morgan. Morgan Stark. And Morgan is the name of an uncle, I believe, that actually is like not necessarily like a bad guy that he deals with, but he's kind of like not a good character.
Oh, really?
So it was like a reference to like an alternate character that it depends on which like Marvel universe you're reading into, but I just thought that was like a nice little fun Easter egg.
Okay.
Plenty of Easter eggs throughout this movie too. So with that arrives, then we get the Black Order. 2 of the Black Orders arrive in New York. And they immediately start attacking, and then we get introduced to Spider-Man, so that was awesome as well. I remember the crowd going crazy for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember being a little upset because I was like, okay, so now the crowd started going crazy for every superhero that appeared on film, but they didn't do that for Iron Man because Iron Man was like the first one.
Right.
So I was a little bummed about that because I was like, he should be getting the...
Well, no, he did. They did applaud when he was becoming like Iron Man, not as Tony Stark.
Yeah, but I feel like he got the least because it was in the beginning and like throughout the film, the applauses got more and more. But it's fine. It's all right. I'm not offended. I'm not hurt.
I think one of the things that we're walking away with was this was an event that you like seeing it in theaters with a bunch of people that have enjoyed these past movies.
It made the overall experience so much more fun.
So much fun, yeah.
I can't imagine going to this like 2 months from now, and there's not a ton of people in the theater. Like it would be a different experience, but the energy is in the crowd, is in the audience, so it's like
it was pumped up with the logos coming up.
Yeah. So
and we went to go see it with a group as well. So shout out to Donnie, Justin, Claudia, and Claudia's boyfriend.
Shout out.
Yeah, it was one of those where we saw it all and we saw it with a group and we were all for the fun. But yes, so we meet the Black Orders and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and they kidnap Doctor Strange and they take off.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the bad guys gets transported to like another ice.
Yeah, somewhere out of the U.S. Which it looks like.
I'm assuming he had the way to call for help because he ends up like joining their bad team later down the movie. I kind of forgot about him.
Yeah.
Until they
showed him again.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, you didn't die. Oh, shucks. All right. Yeah.
So, but yes. So then we go into our next team, which is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get introduced to Thor meeting them.
Yep.
I think this team up was probably my most excited because Guardians of the Galaxy are joining the Avengers for the first time. Everything else, they've always been their own thing.
Yeah. So
Thor meeting them and the whole interaction that they have, there was a lot of funny moments that happened with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the two Guardian films are full of funny moments, so they're going to bring a lot of the comedy, specifically Star-Lord, but all of them. And
they start immediately too with like, why, like, this is you're a man, or you're a dude, this is a man.
Yeah. the whole interaction was really fun to watch.
And then Thor decides, he's like, I need to go get a new hammer, so I'm off, and Groot and Rocket join him, and then they're like, oh, we need to go to the next Infinity Stone, which is where the Collector was, this is where you have to, if you did your research, this was from the first.
You need to see the first Guardians film.
Exactly. So then we go there, and then we go to Scotland, I believe, where Vision and Scarlet Witch are at.
Mm-hmm.
So we catch up with them, and they're in love. They're
just trying to live their life, low key.
And they picked up, like when we left off with Civil War, we did kind of like know that they were feeling some specific way for each other, but by here it was like established. Like in the Civil War, it was kind of like a will they, like
yeah, maybe could they,
like office rumors.
Yeah. So like they solidified it,
right?
They confirmed it within here.
Now they confirmed it,
and then they got it.
The other two, I was gonna say for some reason the bad guys' names, but the two from the Black Order arrive and they start attacking, and then they get help.
And then Oscar's favorite superhero comes in to save the day.
And that heroic like moment when he's just like watching, and then the bad guy's like, I see you, and throws it and he catches it.
So then we get Captain America, wild. We get Black Widow, we get
I personally, I know you were saying like you like his look. To me it's just like,
yeah, man, he Captain America looked dope.
I wanted him to. I'm still waiting.
You know what? I really liked Captain America in this film, and obviously Captain America's great. I loved him in all the other films. I'm team Iron Man, but beside the point. But I feel like he was more, he's always, he's noble. He's do the right thing, and blah blah blah. But I feel like in this one he was like, you know what? I'm more rugged. I got longer hair. I got a mountain beard. Like I'm gonna kick ass.
Yeah. I could see that.
I just felt like I was like, yeah, like this is the Captain America that I wanted to see. So I was pretty excited. I was really excited to see him. I thought he was great.
To kind of jump, I was hoping that he was gonna, maybe in the next Avengers he will, but I was kind of hoping he was gonna like, shave and like go back to like that original comic book look. Did not happen in this one. So that part did, disappoint. I get, this is like, he's undercover or whatever, and it's like I get why he's currently looking that way, but I thought he was going to revert back.
Yeah.
I thought it was always going to be like one of those, they look different, and by the end,
he might, right? He might.
By Avengers 4, I would hope he's back with his shield and shaven look.
I did not care for, I know we're not getting so much into looks, but like Black Widow's
blonde.
new blonde do. I was
green like
I really outfit. I like her red. I like the red, but it was fine. It was Infinity War.
Falcon was
got to switch it up. And Falcon was the same.
He was the same. Always the same. But yeah, so picking off. So yes, they come help, they save, and they're going back to the headquarters, and then this is where we meet up with the Guardians again, and we find out that Thanos now has 3 stones. Mm-hmm. He got, I guess we should clarify, he had one before the movie started. He got the second one when he destroyed Thor's ship, and now he has the third one from the Collector. Mm-hmm. And then he kidnaps Gamora. Mm-hmm. So, and at this point,
and this is when like the whole story arc with like Gore and Thanos begin to.
Yes, there was. Unfold. Yes, we started to see the flashback as to
how
Gamora's involved.
Yeah,
which is
how Thanos came to her home planet, just killed everybody there,
or at least half, supposedly.
Half of them. Took her, Gamora, kidnapped her, basically took her under his wing, trained her. So we get that there's this father-daughter relationship, whatever that may be, but
and that he loves her and she really doesn't, like she's the evil and stuff. I do want to before we continue on, I do want to talk about another funny moment with Drax and his like I'm in stealth mode when I just stand still, and it's like, what do you do? Like they made it's odd that they've made Drax a comedic character. Like, I don't even see him as a strong person, like a strong buff.
Even like from the first 2 films, from the first Guardians.
Well, yeah, overall,
in general.
Like now he's like, the first one he was naive, which was understandable, but now they made him a comic relief, which the jokes land, so that's great. But I don't see him as like a legit brute force, like
superhero.
In the sense, like I don't see him using his force to really help the team. Mm-hmm. Like at first, with the cover, when you look at the covers, you kind of think of like, oh, maybe he's like the muscle of the team, and I just don't feel like he is the muscle of the team because they don't really use him in that capacity much. But that's just the decision they decided to go with for Drax. I said Grax, apparently. Shipping here. Good morning.
It's all right. You're molding them into one.
So yes, and now we go back and we meet our teams in with Doctor Strange, Peter Parker, and Tony are in outer space. They defeat the bad guy, which was rather quick. I was surprised that they actually defeated this bad guy quick.
Yeah,
I thought all the Black Orders were going to be like the legit threats, but no, it
was just Thanos.
And then they realized they're going to Thanos' planet, and they should just go and attack since he doesn't expect them, or at least they assume. And then we find out.
Well, before that, it was that before they went to Titan,
right?
That's when the is that when? What am I trying to say? When everybody met up, like Guardians and Thor, and then Spider-Man, Tony, Doctor Strange. Would that happen?
Well, no. Right now, they're knowing where they're going. Okay. They haven't landed yet.
Gotcha.
I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. They haven't landed. And so yes, and then we go back to our team I don't want to say the United States, but on Earth.
On Earth. Yeah.
On Earth, and we kind of get an update of what they're thinking of, and they realize.
So very smart for them to. I didn't really know how they were going to go about this, like getting all the characters to finally come together in one location, in one spot, in one battle. But I like they kind of made it into teams.
Yes.
Starting with and I that was something that I guess I didn't really think about it, but it made
works
sense.
Out. It's effective.
Worked out, and it was. Yeah, because it all happened kind of like fluidly. And
the only counter to that, that's difficult to knowing after seeing it, is that not all the characters interact in the way that we thought they were going to interact. Yeah. We got like a sample of some new characters, like Thor meeting the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange meeting Iron Man and Peter Parker. And all of Captain America's team they've already met before, like even Black Panther. So them going to Wakanda was new, but that was really the only new thing for them. But a lot of we still missed out on a lot of what happened with Tony and Cap after Civil War.
That's the biggest thing.
Those things don't get filled up.
I mean, you kind of saw they were teasing at it. In the beginning, Tony was supposed to call Captain, but
hesitated, and then that's when they felt like something was coming. And then Bruce Banner and Black Widow, they kind of just had like that.
Just kind of like, hey.
Like, hey,
up?
Yeah. We don't got time for this. Like, yeah. So then we go back to Thor. It kind of does that rotation. We're going to like every.
Yeah, it's just it's just going between all the like three teams basically.
The basic way to follow it is that Thanos is going after a stone each time, and at this point he's going after the Soul Stone. Mm-hmm. In which case, this is the big second, I guess, impact that has that he actually has to kill Gamora in order to get the Soul Stone, and that entire thing, it's like it was.
And from the moment, I mean, they set you up for it, but from the moment when Red Skull was saying, you know.
That was a surprise as well.
Right.
Surprise.
Red Skull's in this one.
Shout out to the first Captain America movie that you had to watch to get that.
So, yeah, when he was like, a sacrifice has to be made or something, like whatever. And then I'm like, oh, you already know. You know it has to be Gamora. And Gamora doesn't think it's going to be her because she's like, you're incapable of loving you don't love anything or anybody. Yep. But he did. And I think that's where they try to make us slightly sympathize with Thanos and kind of see more of his, like, I guess, human side. Even though he's not human.
I didn't buy it. To me, this was another part that I struggled with.
It's not like I bought it. I didn't buy it like, oh, I totally get it, Thanos. Like, no, you're still a bad guy, and I still don't really.
But the tears, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the tears to me.
Oh, like how
Like, I get what
it did come off a little, like, not genuine, a little disingenuine, a little bit.
It's like you can't have someone, and this is just me trying to understand. I guess this is like the realist. We can't be realistic on what like happens in this movie, but we can be realistic with how you should feel.
For real.
And so, to me, this is what part where I have struggles with feeling it was realistic in that if you can kill people, and you can do this all like crucial stuff and like heartless acts, I just struggle with you being okay with killing one person for what you want. Like I understand, I get like what they were trying to say. Like Gamora was special; she was different than anyone else he was killing.
Right.
But we never saw that to know that. Like the only thing we saw with Gamora and Thanos was when he recruited her to some extent, if you want to say, or kidnapped.
Yeah, it's not like they showed them having any like heartfelt moments or sharing anything special amongst themselves.
Right. And the thing is, he has another daughter, Nebula,
right,
who was being tortured, and that was like,
and he had no problem to do that.
Yeah, like this felt like it was a plot convenience. Like,
so what? Yeah, like what? I mean, we love Gamora, but like, what was so special about Gamora that you felt so strongly about? You loved her so much.
That's something that should have been explored in the Guardians movies or in this movie.
Even like there was at some point when Gamora was like, I hate that throne. I hated this and then he had said something like, you used to say that to me every single day. So it's, so it sounds like, she was always saying like, I hate it here. I hate this. I hate you. So it's like, how I get like exactly what you're saying. Like there wasn't any, I don't see where there were any good moments or anything that was supposed to make us go, oh yeah, but they did have, these good times together.
You made her an assassin. Like it wasn't like she, she wanted to be an assassin, and you're just, all right, I'll train you, daughter. This was it felt like it was more
follow
like
my footsteps, like, or whatever.
Yeah. So that's my like one gripe with Thanos is like it was kind of be like forced. So with that was the first part. Gamora meets her demise, and that was tough.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. At this point, I'm thinking something can be fixed because it was very early on that this happened. That this is like almost reaching the midway point.
Yeah, this was pretty much the midpoint, and we all discussed this outside when we finished the film, and Justin had his thoughts about it and everything. But I just don't feel like that would be too big of a gamble for them to kill off one of the Guardians of the Galaxy, especially like we know there's a third film. So many people love Gamora. It's not like she's just like this, by the side character or whatever. Like she's one of the stars. Like people love her.
And so and if she's gonna die, she deserves to die.
She wouldn't die
in Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Like she shouldn't die in a spin-off. Well, I mean, in some sense, it is a spin-off.
Yeah,
but like
and like you said, like
unless this was the ultimate. Yeah, unless this was the ultimate.
Right, but if you never came to see Infinity War. You saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then you go back to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 when it comes out, and then it's like Gamora died. That wouldn't make sense. Like, So you're basically saying, oh, well, you had to have seen Infinity War to say goodbye to Gamora.
Yeah.
I don't think they just wouldn't do that.
It's tough to that because to me.
So I wasn't that sad when she died. I was sad, but I'm like, I know they're gonna fix this. They're gonna mend this in the second.
Which
film.
brings you into that. At least it did for me. Which to me at this point was, does that mean Loki comes back? Like they were trying to emphasize this is permanent. Mm-hmm. Come on, the more you say this is permanent, then I'm gonna start raising questions of like, is it really?
Yeah.
So yes. So as we continue on. He has 4 stones now, so he's off to the 5th one, and this is in Titan, where Tony, Doctor Strange, Peter meet up with partial of the Guardians of the Galaxy team, and they almost stop him. And I think this is the part where
this was my most frustrating part of the film, as I'm sure a lot of other people as well.
It's just like Star-Lord just had to just put his emotions.
So everybody was, Spider-Man had him webbed up, and Mantis was on top of him, and trying to like, I don't know,
cloud his
thoughts, and Tony had one arm, and who had the other arm, and
Drax was like on it, like holding him down with his legs.
Yeah, so they were all there. Star-Lord was standing right in front of him, and he was like, "Where did you do it?"
Well, I guess we gotta explain a little bit of context. Nebula also arrives.
Oh yeah, Nebula's there,
and this is when Nebula like kind of put 2 together, and she's like, "Well, Gamora's not here, and he has a Soul Stone." Mm-hmm. And so Star-Lord his emotions took off. And I get what they were trying to do. This entire movie was trying to establish that love again of like they love each other. The other movies, the Guardians of the movies themselves didn't necessarily kind of go too much into that. It was kind of like a little like brush of like they're interested, but this one was full on like I love you.
Yeah.
So he had that emotional, and
so they were right there until right as Star-Lord figured out or heard that he had killed Gamora. You heard you heard him right away. He was like, we almost got it off. Like you heard the sternness in his voice because he saw that Star-Lord was getting upset and he knew he was going to do something. He was like, we almost have the gauntlet off. Then Star-Lord was getting upset and Tony tried to like kind of calm him down. Like, no, let's finish it. And he let the emotions get the best of him like a freaking idiot.
And this is where it's like, and then
Thanos broke free and just
continued his course. Now, the one thing I will want to say was a nice little twist was that in Civil War, it was Tony that lost his emotions.
I knew you were going to say that, and I even thought about that. I even gave that thought. I did.
You did.
I did. However, the difference was, it was the 3 of them. It wasn't like... Okay, what was the difference?
Well, they still had to stop the bad guy. They still had to stop Zemo, but Tony getting too like emotional, caught up in what he just saw, was leading to Zemo almost escaping if it wasn't for Black Panther.
Yeah,
but
I think the reason they had Tony be the one to be like, kind of like we're almost there. Like keep your emotions in check because he did go through that same kind of exact thing in Civil War.
Right, it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that it's a nice callback. It's kind of like...
But it still made me mad.
It
didn't make me mad when Iron Man did it because Iron Man's my dude, my favorite. But Star-Lord does it.
I ain't watching any Guardians movies.
That threat wasn't as big as the threat of like Thanos,
But the thing that bugs me is that it's like, why didn't you just wait until the glove was off and then like shoot your heart out? Like
right, like if he said we almost got it off, so that means you guys are gonna get it off, and then Thanos is gonna be vulnerable, and then you guys can do whatever you want, like roast him to pieces, obliterate him, do whatever you need to.
But
just get, like 5 more seconds.
Had to hit him, and
like
Mantis lost like her ability. Yeah, so it was.
So yeah, that was like frustrating.
So. To cut it short, he wins. He gets the stone. Now,
he gets the time stone.
He gets the time stone. The one thing that is crucial, and this is the biggest talk point going into the next one, is that Doctor Strange said he saw all the possible ways of outcomes. He saw
14 million?
Yeah.
And there's only one where they win.
And right before it...
and that can be... that itself causes so much speculation.
Yes.
Are we in that one? Are we currently watching that one event unfold, even though it looks like we lost?
Does that mean he knew that this was going to fail?
Did he always know? Like, I mean, that just opens the conversation up so much more.
Because at the same time, Doctor Strange could have easily transported Star-Lord somewhere else. Like, he'd have been like, I don't know where, you need to go somewhere else, like, right now.
Yeah, if he saw that was going to happen, right?
Right.
I mean, he had he could have controlled that whole situation in the time that he had the stone.
Yeah.
I mean, so anything, like, and literally anything could have happened. He could have made, so it's like,
yeah,
it's too much to get into it.
In this, we're gonna have to like another episode.
Yeah,
but I will say this was my favorite action sequence when they all fought together, because this is what I wanted. I wanted them to be able to team up and like use their powers to stop Thanos. Mm-hmm. And this is the only time that this really happens, and that they all team up. Well, at least those
a lot of them.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that was awesome to see. Now we're in Wakanda, where they're trying to get the stone out of Vision so Vision can survive.
Yeah.
The Black Order arrives again, and they bring these random,
like zombie, freaking werewolf-y creature,
which is another problem
things.
of mine, because nowhere did like we knew that this army was just hanging around. So that kind of was like a big thing for me. It was like there was nowhere they were just like, guess what, guys? We have this army waiting to use them. It's like, why didn't they use them in New York? You know, why didn't they use them in Scotland?
Yeah.
So that was another thing. It was just like, okay, another plot thing. But
we just gotta accept that.
Yeah.
Like we're just supposed
to.
So
they go in Wakanda. They try their best. Unfortunately, they don't succeed. Mm-hmm. And we get to the last emotional beat. Well, second last emotional beat, where Scarlet Witch has to kill Vision essentially. Mm-hmm. And Thanos arrives, and it's like seconds, seconds are ticking away, and she's trying, and all the heroes are trying to stop Thanos, but he's just like using the gauntlet to stop them.
And it looks like she destroys the stone,
right?
But then Thanos uses the time stone
and
reverses time, and then takes the stone,
which just confirms that you can go back in time and bring a character to life.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we can bring back Gamora, Loki, and everyone else. Mm-hmm. So yes, at this point, I do want to just briefly ask, since we're reaching the end, how did you feel with Thanos getting the last stone? At this point, did you think? Because to be honest, I didn't think Thanos was going to get all the stones. I thought he was going to be missing that one, and the movie was going to be like, all right, because I knew he was coming back for the fourth one, so I thought it was going to be like, all right, man, not this time, but I'm going to come back and leave. But when he got the fourth one, this one I was like, I don't know what to expect at this point. Like,
when he got that last one, I was like, holy crap. I was like, it was like, I know somehow, some way they're gonna find a way to try to defeat Thanos, but in my head, I'm just like, how the hell is this gonna happen? Yep. He has all 6 Infinity Stones. Like, what are they gonna do? That's just what kept going through my mind.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's just like at this point,
and it can't be something just so simple like, oh yeah, all we have to do is like, no, it's gonna be like people are gonna not come back. I feel like
that's what they're saying. Some of them
are not gonna come back, and it might even play out. I feel. So are we at the end now? Are we talking about?
We got a little bit. I mean, go for it.
But he gets the 6th Infinity Stone.
That's the biggest thing. He got all 6.
He got all 6, and then he snaps. I don't know. Did he snap his fingers?
He did.
Okay.
Yes.
There was so much going on, so I was like, did I see him snap his fingers? He snapped his fingers, and then we start seeing people die.
Yes.
We see Star-Lord die. All the Guardians die.
All the Guardians.
Gamora already died, but we saw Brax die.
Not Brax.
I mean, Jesus.
Drax.
You're calling him, would you call him Grax?
Grax.
I called him Brax.
I shipped Gamora and Drax together. Who did you ship?
I don't know.
Bruce Banner and Drax.
We see Drax die. We see Groot die. Star-Lord dies.
Oh, Rocket doesn't die. He survives.
No, Rocket doesn't die. Mantis dies, right?
Mantis dies.
We see Black Panther die.
Oh,
he died, I was like, oh, heck no, dude. He died.
That's when I was like, oh yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah, when he died, I was like, well, even when all the Guardians died, I was like,
no, because Black Panther died first, and then Peter died.
I don't remember the order. They were dying.
Bucky died, yeah.
But yeah, he died. Peter died, and when Peter died, obviously that was like the most kind of.
And that was
the
Did you know that? I don't know.
That was improv.
Yeah.
Oh, good for Tom Holland. He did really good. That was one of the most emotional moments in the movie.
Yeah.
Very, very just.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
I don't want to go. Oh my god, that killed a lot of people. I mean, not killed a lot of people, but that was, one other thing I do want to say. It was tough because like this moment tried to do a lot of those like emotional beats, but like like I said, they were trying to pack so many things into it, so you couldn't let those things just kind of breathe and hang out and really, meditate on it, because you were like, as soon as one thing happened, you were like, okay, we're on to the next,
stone that he has to
yeah,
get,
so it's like it was just so quick paced. I wish well, I'm not saying, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying I wish there were some really touching moments that I felt like if they had the room to linger a little longer, they would have been more effective.
Right.
But you just had to keep going through this film. But that was a good one, a good scene.
And then we do get an attempt with Thor almost stop this as well. Our second, he threw his new hammer, which it's not a hammer, it's an axe that he calls Stormbreaker, and he throws it at Thanos,
and it goes through his chest, his body,
practically, almost like.
But I'm like, why didn't you aim for the hand that the gauntlet was on?
Well, the option that you could have just went for the arm and chopped it off, could have gone for the head, or if you continue what he was doing, kill him. Why, if you see him struggling, why are you just gonna wait there and grab his head and just stare him down?
But then I'm like, okay, so if Thor had killed him, then that means Thor is the most powerful being.
But it's fine. He's a god. He's god of thunder.
I mean, he is, yeah. But I don't know.
But the point is, if he has all 6 stones, and you see him still breathing. Like, the minute Thanos was trying to get a word out, I would have pushed that axe even further and be like, nope, he's not dead.
I mean, I just would have went for the arm. Just sever the arm. Sever the hand. Take the gauntlet off. I don't know, run with it. Or, put it on yourself. I don't know, anything, something.
Right, exactly.
Don't just, aim for, yeah.
Just don't aim. Don't critically injure him. And then just, watch him. He's like, I told you I was gonna get you. I was gonna stop you. You could say that when he's dead.
Yeah, well, let's finish the task, and then you can say all you want to say.
So that was that last part, and then that's where essentially the movie kind of ends. Where we do see Thanos in some other place.
See him in this kind of
not
in
wounded.
This very nice green fields and watching the sunset, and this supposed to be this kind of poetic thing, what he was kind of talking about the whole time, or something that. So he's, I don't know what that was supposed to do, if that was supposed to make us see his side or understand it more or something. I don't know. I didn't really buy it or get it.
That was the thing. I think with Thanos, I understand what they were trying to make us understand him, but we don't need to understand him and almost want to agree with him or understand him and sympathize with him. We just need to know what he's doing and why he's doing it.
Yeah.
And I think just telling us...
we'll make the connections ourselves. Don't try to make us feel a certain way about him.
Exactly.
Don't try to make me like him, because I don't like him. He's killing my superheroes.
Right. And I'm not going to like him. That's yeah, I mean, we can sit here all day comparing, imagine if that was someone else. But I don't know. I personally did not think that it was needed, because it didn't work for me. Those scenes did not make Thanos the greatest villain ever in the comic book movie history to me. He's up there already with what he was doing and how he was actually succeeding, but I didn't need for that sympathy for him. People
are already cracking me up talking about, the best villain hands down, and rivals. I mean, the best villain of any superhero universe rivals Heath Ledger's Joker.
Killmonger was better than Thanos.
Right, and they're saying I agree.
Yeah,
I way agree with that. Thanos was good. He obviously a force to be reckoned with, and not anyone to be taken lightly. But the best, the very very best of the best. I wouldn't say all that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like him succeeding is what separates him from all the other villains. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
We don't need to
in that aspect. Yes.
Right.
Then I guess he would be the best, because in that aspect.
Yes, in succeeding. Absolutely. Yes. We'll just say
we'll just leave it at that.
So that's then we get the post-credit scene, and that's all that, but
yeah.
That's teasing Captain Marvel coming up, but that's another topic. So we recapped
only that, and there was no mid-credit scene.
There was no mid-credit,
yeah. Post-credit scene, so.
And the reason why we did a recap of the movie instead, because it is an emotional roller coaster that you go through, and you can't really just review it in that I thought it was nice and stuff.
And it's unfinished, like we said. We have a whole nother film to talk about.
This is only talk about the
incomplete
movie.
story. We can only tell you what we've seen up to now,
and how we feel about it,
and how we feel, and what was going through our minds, and it was a lot, and I'm burning to see the second one
I want the complete story.
They're smart. They're making us wait a year.
They shouldn't. They should make us wait until like November.
I know. Like for real. Yeah, 6 months. Come on.
But I mean, we have to do its movie respect and give it a review or a rating, I guess, or a real rating. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go first? Do you want to give your real score?
Oh man, I really didn't even think about what I would give the.
Well, I'll go. I'll go.
You go first.
You're developing.
Yeah, please, thank you.
So my real score for this film is a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
And I'm sure if you were picking up on the things that I had the problems with, it adds up to the point where I know this is not a complete movie and it's not by any means a perfect movie, but it's just an absolute great ride that we've been on with the 10 years that Marvel has done its movies. Mm-hmm. It was great to see everything feel like it is leading up to this. It's unfortunate that we know it's not the end. It would be different if, in the same way like Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows, you knew that was the last book. You knew that this is where it's ending.
Yeah.
So when you watch the movies, you know it's ending. This one's kind of more like it feels like it's ending, but we know it's not. We know that after Avengers 4, there's still going to be Marvel movies coming out because they've announced, or they're saying they're going to be making more of that. And I think at this point they're saying they're going to make them until 2025. So we know that's coming. So it's kind of like just a middle of the road kind of adventure. But it absolutely is fun. It's funny in the sense that, there's a lot of memorable scenes that we could talk about. A lot of just moments that we probably can even explore more if we wanted to. And it's definitely one that I do enjoy seeing. It's not one that I can only see once and be like, you know what, I'm actually good. It's one that I want to see more because I want to see those moments again where it's just like Star-Lord, stop. All those things that we felt, they still come up when I saw it. I've seen it twice. And it still comes up when I saw it the second time. They were just I was like, stop. Or no, don't die. All those things still hit those things because we're at this part in this universe that it's getting to that scale where it's like we don't know what can happen. So all those reasons that it was enjoyable, definitely feels like it's a deserving. Marvel definitely feel like they have the right to do this kind of movie with all these characters in it. Those minor grips aside, I still feel like this is a great Marvel movie and a great big event kind of movie.
Right.
So 4 out of 5 is my score.
Okay, solid. I'm gonna give this
a 4.5.
No, I was gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I swear, I'm not just copying you.
Which is fine.
I was gonna give it a 4 out of 5 as well. There's not much I can say differently than what you said. It was a great film, for sure. Just a epic movie. Something I've only had the luxury of seeing it once so far, but I'm for sure gonna see it again and again. I don't know if I'll see it all those times in theaters. I definitely am gonna see it one more time in the theaters. I want to watch. I want to rewatch it. I want to find some more Easter eggs and pay attention and kind of just think I like to break it down too. I'd like to break it down and be like, oh well, why couldn't they have done that? Not to be nitpicky or pessimistic about the film, but just kind of just go in with a little more thought and go oh well, I know. With the time stone you can do this, or with the soul stone you're able to do that. Why couldn't they have done this, or why couldn't they have tried that?
You're enjoying the movie, it's enjoying it and just fan fiction to some extent,
right? Yeah, pretty much making scenarios up in your head and seeing, well, why didn't they explore that option? But yeah, it was very very fast paced, which I don't, like I said, I'm not saying
like 2 hours and 30 minutes.
It did not. There was so much, there was a lot going on, but it didn't feel like it dragged out.
Nope.
I wasn't sitting there oh my God, let's wrap this up. I was I was emotionally invested in it. I was excited when certain characters appeared. I was laughing. Yeah. I was sad. I got chills on some scenes. It made all these physiological things happen to my body. And I was really, really just into it. And it was a great film. I thought, I liked the plot and the subplots and the story arcs and or the character arcs. It wasn't a perfect film, I understand. And there are a couple of people that were saying some of the CGI was a little
see sloppy. There were some things I
could have been cleaned up a little more.
And I do want to just briefly mention here. I completely forgot we didn't mention him. I just wanted to make sure I don't forget him. But we saw it with my cousin Daniel as well. Mm-hmm. He was in our group.
Oh yeah, shout out to Danny. He was there with us.
I totally remember because he pointed that out on some of the CGI that I was like, oh, you're right. And that's why I was like, wait, you didn't mention him in the group that we went to go see it with.
Something specific? Do you remember?
He mentioned Proxima Midnight and Hulk. Or not, Bruce Banner as in the Hulk armor at the end.
Okay.
There was, if you go back and you watch it, like pretty much like when the credits are about to come up, he's like there and it feels like he's not.
Okay.
Like it feels like it was CGI that put him there.
Okay. Speaking of, really quickly, Bruce Banner was dealing with the Hulk having this like performance anxiety issue, and he wasn't wanting to come out, and that was interesting. And
it was, I
was like, what was the point of that as well? I know I don't want to backtrack too much, but that was kind of like, what? Like, why did, and like he would try to become the Hulk, and the Hulk was like, no.
I get that, and that should have been something that could have been easily been if this was like Avengers Age of Ultron kind of thing, where we can get more time with that.
Yeah, but we could have explored that more. And then maybe, like, if it did come back, if it did spring back up in Infinity War, we would have been like, oh, great, he's doing what he did in Avenger,
we would get it,
Ultron. Like, it would make sense.
And the thing was, the trailers lied to us because they made it seem like Hulk was
in that battle, like that last battle specifically, right?
Yeah. And then here's the funny thing now. Just recently, toys are coming out with the Hulk coming out of the armor. So it's maybe at some point it was supposed to happen, but the Russo brothers or whoever made that decision said, you know what, just save that for Avengers 4.
Right.
So maybe that part in the trailer was not just for the trailers. That was supposedly part of the movie, I'm assuming. But I'm assuming it's when they changed their mind, they were like, well, we can't use it because Hulk's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those toys that it's like he's bursting out of the armor.
Huh. Okay.
So.
Well, I just wanted to briefly throw that in there because I was like, huh. But anyways, to sum it all up, all those reasons, it was a great film. It wasn't a perfect film, but it was really enjoyable. One of my favorites from MCU.
Yes.
And it was great. It was great, and that's why I give it a 4 out of 5. And I can't wait to see it again. And
can't wait to see part 2.
I cannot wait to see part 2 for real.
So everyone that's seen this, definitely give us your feedback. This is definitely, we love to talk to you guys about, so much to talk about this movie.
So much. I mean, we could go on and on and on.
Absolutely.
We've already gone on longer than we should have, but we literally could stay here all night and talk about this.
So definitely, you know where we're at: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube even. Just go ahead and communicate with us if you want to. That's, Team Reel-ists, Team REELISTS. And don't forget, I'm sure you guys already know this, but every Thursdays we have episodes, so keep tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you.
Go see Infinity War if you haven't seen it. See it again.
We're not promoted. It's not a promotional tie-in. But thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.